Welcome back to another episode of Connie Celica, my 1977 Toyota Celica. You guys might be surprised to hear this, but I got a new set of wheels for her. Check these out. I don't recall if we mentioned in the previous episode that we are going to chassis mount the car for paint, but that's obviously what these dolly wheels are for. These are big boys, 6x2 with like a poly style tire on it, if you want to call it a tire. From what we've seen, we've done a little bit of research on how to build a chassis cart.
Come here, come on, fit you.
And from what we've seen, using a big caster like this will really help getting it in and out of the trailer. So we're going to trailer it in an enclosed trailer, and getting up the ramps and over the little hump there into the main part of the trailer is a bit tricky with a smaller caster. So we think these big boys will do the job. But before we get into building that cart, I want to show you a couple of things, starting with these rear smiley bumpers. As you guys would have seen a couple of episodes ago, we showed you some challenges that we were having with fitment of the rear smiley bumpers. This is a chrome smiley bumper, an OE piece out of Europe. And when we were fitting it up, we noticed it's got this very large cutout in the middle for European shaped license plates. And the chrome on it, although in decent shape, has a lot of like, what would you call that, Pete? It's almost like
almost pitting.
Cracking
yeah,
pitting.
it's a very light pitting, I find. It's almost like a clear coat coming off.
Kind of, yeah. And I don't know how well that will buff out, or if it will buff out at all, which might mean having to rechrome them, which actually gets very expensive. In fact, I think it'd be more expensive to rechrome this than it was for me to buy this brand new reproduction unit, which has the JDM size license plate opening, which I think is also the same one that they used on USDM cars when we had smiley bumpers in the US market before they brought in like those big safety bumpers. And you can see here how much narrower the license plate opening it is. It's like a good 3 inches narrower on each side, so it's gonna look a lot better. It's gonna fit the shape of the plate much better. It'll look proper, and the chrome is perfect on it. And I should mention this came from a company out of Colombia actually called Classic Fab Vintage JDM. They packaged it incredibly well. They wrapped it in like a green felt blanket and then bubble wrapped it, and they included this towel so you can shine your chrome. Pretty amazing that you can buy this for, I think it was like $550 is the retail price on it. This to me is a really good option for anyone who wants chrome smileys. They bought legit OEM ones to base this on, so it is a true like replica of an OEM smiley bumper. So very cool of Classic Fab to be offering this for the Celica guys, and they are going to be making front bumpers as well. So I'm going to get my hands on a new front one as well. So why don't we jump out back actually, and I'll show you quickly how this looks on the rear of the car. So here's a European spec one again. As you'll recall from a couple episodes ago, Ken sort of patched up this area here where we had an opening from the fiberglass smileys that I had that covered that up completely. It didn't have any cutout in it at all. And by the way, if you're on the market for a European smiley bumper, I have a rear one for sale, and I actually think I'm going to sell the front one too. So contact me if you're looking for these. And for anyone else who wants to do the smarter thing and buy brand new ones, check out Classic Fab. And I have to say the shipping was actually very reasonable from Colombia. It was like $100 to ship it to Canada. Same price as it would have been to ship it to the States. So they ship international. They're a really well-known company in the VW world, actually. They make a ton of replacement body panels for VW buses and stuff like that. Been around a long time, so this is a very well-established company that makes really high-quality stuff. And as you can see, it's got like the OE-style mounting brackets built into the back of the bumper. It's got these other brackets down here, which I'm not sure what these guys are for, to be honest.
For light bulbs.
Oh, light bulbs, you're right.
Plate.
License plate light bulbs. So this is meant to bolt up to, I think, what would be factory spots on the body if my car had come with smiley bumpers originally. But we'll figure that out. I think that's a pretty minor thing to figure out. But man, look at how good fresh chrome looks on this car even without paint. So pretty stoked on that. The fit looks perfect. We just, like I said, have to figure out the mounting on the backside, but I think that'll be dead easy. Before I show you a few things we're gonna do in the interior, not today, but just sort of as a teaser of what's to come, I wanted to ask you guys about polishing this old chrome. I've never polished chrome before. I shouldn't say that. I polished chrome on an exhaust system once when I wanted to sell it secondhand to somebody, but that wasn't a, it wasn't a showpiece. So This stuff's all going to be really visible. This is the front grille. The top and bottom parts you can see are chromed. And they're actually in pretty good shape. They're dirty more than anything else. But like the housing, headlight housings here, you know, the chrome is kind of pitted, kind of faded. So I just don't know what you guys recommend as far as like bringing this back to life. As you might recall, if you watched, I think maybe 3 episodes ago now, when we cut up the door cards to send those down to my friend Christian in California, who's redoing them for me. At the time, I was talking about sending them the rear parcel shelf cover, or not the cover, but the actual like core of it, which is made of this type of, I don't know what you call this, like door card material. And I was gonna have him cover it in the same material he's using on the door cards. But then I remembered, wait a minute, I asked DEI if they would send me some of this leather look heat barrier, or not heat barrier, sound barrier, sorry. And you can see it's got like a, what's that, maybe a 1/4 inch foam backing on this leather look material. And I gotta say, it feels really heavy duty. It's actually got a really nice like rich feel to it. And it's quite pliable too. So we can do a lot of interesting stuff with this material now that we've had a look at it and seen how good it is. So I'm thinking I will use this on the rear parcel shelf. We'll just trim some of this wood to the right shape and glue this on with, I don't know, actually Pete, you ordered some fancy new glue, didn't you?
It's the dab. That's all I know.
Dabbing is kind of old school now.
Okay.
Somebody on Instagram told me it's the good stuff.
We learned that from when we were recovering the door cards in the Evo. So we'll see how that works with this, but we also got to thinking, man, this could work really well as like a headliner material. And this is a long piece, like, I don't know, maybe this is 4 by 5 or something? Like, it's pretty big. We have another roll of it as well, so we could make use of this as a headliner, or we're also thinking we could use it to cover the inside of the A-pillars here, because what was on there had rotted off, but you can see there's some remnants of what was a foam underlayer with like a cloth overlayer, so this would actually maybe work really well for that. But I also asked DEI to send me their headliner kit. So this is a universal headliner that they offer, and you can see it is big. So it is a trim to fit as you'd expect with a universal application. And you can get it in either an inch thick like we have here, or in a 1/2 inch thick. And frankly, I should have ordered it in the 1/2 inch because there's not a lot of headroom in this car to begin with. But Pete had a good point that, you know, with this extra thickness, you might be able to work it into all the little nooks and crannies a little bit better. And it might have a more uniform look when it's done. And you can also see it's got an adhesive backing on it. So it's literally peel and stick, which I think is pretty amazing. And I think once it's all flattened out, it has kind of a nice look to it, too.
Yeah, I really like the texture.
Yeah, it's almost like a little, I don't know, what would you call that finish, like little dimple-y look. So it's really, I think, quite a neat product. I also bought this dash pad. I found this from a fellow first-gen Celica owner in Georgia, whose name is escaping me right now, but I will put you up in text right here so everyone knows who you are. Thank you for digging this out of your parts car. And as you can see, this is the dash pad, and it's out of a car with a brown interior. Doesn't matter since we'll recover it, but it's in great shape till about here, and then things get really ugly in the middle, and then it's in good shape the rest of the way. So I remember watching an episode of Blinky Ben out of Australia who refurbished or refinished one of his dash pad. And so it can be done.
Yeah, like the plastic dash pad fits okay, right?
Yeah,
but
we do
it's
have
not
that here. It doesn't
not
fit
perfect.
great. No, it really doesn't fit that great, does it? You can see that if I throw it on here quickly, you kind of have to fit it to this area first, I find. That sort of like centers it on the dash pad. And the problem is this area here. If I turn it over, you can see it like sticks way out here on both sides. But we could trim that plastic and it would fit okay. But it doesn't fit great, and it has, I don't know, a bit of a cheaper look being plastic. So I'm tempted to get a pro to redo it and cover it in a nicer material than this plastic. But as a cheap solution, this is like an $80 piece of plastic that you just throw over your dash pad. It could
Or
work.
you might be able to combine both.
That's
That's
true.
also
Like, this
not
might
a bad
give it
idea, right?
Some stiffness, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. This is just kind of an exploration of what we've got here, because it's been so long since I've ordered all these parts. I just kind of wanted to have an inventory of what we got and decide if we're missing anything important or if we want to change any of our plans or ideas.
Yeah, like the door seals.
The door seals, yeah, man. So I ordered all these door seals from Joel at Toy Sport, who has a horde of new old stock seals, gaskets, all kinds of stuff for first-gen Celicas, including these. You can see it's got the Toyota part number on it. But when we took it out of the bag, we're like, what are these?
Wait a second.
What are these for, everybody? That doesn't look coupe-ish. That looks fastback-ish. These are the window seals for the fastback rear windows. But we do have the correct upper one, right, for the doors?
Yes.
This goes along the upper.
But you only have one.
I only have one. And I don't have the trunk seal either, which I thought I ordered. It's possible they're in a bin here and I've just misplaced it, so I'll keep digging around. But as you can tell, we've got some organizing to do, and there's other types of trim too that we're realizing that go on the door, like they pinch along this door seam. It's sort of like a harder rubber type of material. I think you can buy Universal of that stuff.
Yeah,
but,
I hope so.
maybe there's stuff specific still for these cars, so I'll have to do some research on that. In any case, that's a quick rundown of interior, seals, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think that about covers what we need to. Maybe it's time to move on to building this chassis cart. I didn't expect to use lumber during any part of this project, but that's what we're doing today. We're gonna build our chassis cart out of these 4x4s, these big casters. We bought these on sale at Princess Auto. Anyway, you can buy a complete chassis cart from like Eastwood or whatever for 400 bucks, but we're gonna build our own for probably 100 bucks and it'll work just fine. It'll be strong enough. This car weighs next to nothing. So use your imagination, watch as we build this. I'm pretty sure you guys have an idea of what we're gonna do with all these bolts and screws, and let's get to it. It's like a high school wood shop around here, Pete. That was
With a lot less precision?
Yeah, a lot less precision. Although my high school shop teacher had 4 fingers.
Oh,
So
wow.
He wasn't the most precise guy in the world. Anyhow, we made a mess. We made a non-square shape, but it turns out we needed to make a non-square shape because the frame rails kind of taper in toward the front. And I gotta say, it worked pretty well. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but I think it'll work fine for getting the car in and out of the trailer. So you can see I can move her around, no problem. We did use ratchet straps through the front, and we added a second one like halfway back just for safety. Just a little worried about the way we used the wood in the rear link mounting point there. If that happened to shear off that secondary strap, I think we'll keep it on the dolly. So I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna be fine. Just in and out of the trailer, guys. It doesn't have to be Noah's Ark here.
Hey,
Yeah?
what the hell is this?
We still have 2 more things to do. We've got 35 minutes to do it, PT. What do you say? I'm gonna spray the inside of the front fenders, because when we undercoated this car, one of our more astute viewers noticed that I didn't do the inside of the front fenders. And I think he has a good point. A, it'll protect it, and B, it'll help dampen some of the vibration that we have here. Because I cut the lip out for the flares, it sort of weakens the fender. So I think adding some mass to the back will just help dampen it down a bit. And we're gonna cut out these gussets at the top of the roll bar here because I wanna put a headliner in. And this is gonna make it much more difficult to put the headliner in. So we're gonna remove those gussets so that we can put a one-piece headliner in without any drama. And I think it'll just clean up the whole look of the car too. So when Mike put those in, he he thought this was going to be a gutted race car, and so did I at the time. But we've evolved, people. We've evolved to woodworking
up.
and building street cars instead of race cars. So we got enough race cars. This thing's going to be fun on the street, and it'll still go to the track from time to time. So let's get to those 2 last jobs, and then we'll let you guys go back to doing whatever you would normally do when you're not watching amazing things happening on YouTube. Say, this boom mat spray-on stuff is maybe my favorite thing in the world. It's super easy to use. It has such good coverage. It doesn't make a lot of a mess. I just find it really, I don't know, gratifying to use it because you just feel like you're getting something done with it. And what a cool, affordable way to add some damping to sound and heat as well. So, love me some boom mat. Here's one of the gussets we cut out, and it's funny, the passenger side was easy and the driver's side was hard just because of the way the tool would fit in there and being left-handed or right-handed, I guess. But in any case, those came out pretty cleanly. And one last thing I wanted to show you is this rear, goes this way, this rear center panel for the flat light conversion that we did back in, I think, episode 1 of the season. And we talked about plugging these 2 holes and plugging a hole over here as well. And as you can see, this hole plugged really well. I took it to Vin at NV Auto, who's a really good welder. And the aluminum welded up good here, but you could see he was really having a hard time welding this up. And he said it was just such old porous aluminum that he was afraid he was gonna just like blow holes in it. So he stopped there. But I could just fill that with, I don't know, JB Weld or any kind of filler really, and then we'll paint it. So you'll never see that, but at least the bulk of it is welded up. And he added these 2 bungs on the back side so that we can fasten this more securely than we had during that episode where we kind of had it mocked up with this little guy, and then I forget what we did on the top side, but this is a much better way of doing it. So we're pretty much sorted on this. This will go down to Street Bandito for paint, unless this coronavirus thing goes on a lot longer, in which case maybe we'll have to find a local option for paint. I don't want to wait like the whole summer to get it painted, so we're just gonna have to play that one by ear. We may have to plan B it if you know, COVID doesn't want us going to America with the car anytime soon. So we'll keep you guys in the loop on that. And that is a wrap on this episode. And I should say it might be a while before you see the next episode, because really I think at this point it is ready to go to paint. There's nothing I really want to do to it. I've removed all the butyl from the rear and front windshield gutter here, which was a slow, laborious job with wax and grease remover. But it did do a very good job of softening that and removing it. So really, this car, I think, is ready to go, and when that happens is really kind of up to you know, this whole pandemic situation. So let's hope that we can all get out from under this sooner than later, and we can move on to having some more fun with Connie Celica. But until then, bear with us, guys. I'll try to keep you updated on social media, and of course, you can hang around, watch the Evo, watch the M3 come together, and once those 2 cars are done, we've of course got an epic battle with the Evo versus STI. We got an epic battle with the 2JM3 versus a supercar. And then we've got a whole summer planned of JDM goodness like you will not believe. So you're gonna wanna subscribe, you're gonna wanna hit the notification bell because we got so much good stuff coming at you. It's gonna blow your mind.